You are on your own, sports ministry tells federations. I mean, oh my god, this is just sad. I saw this article about 2 days ago, and let's just break it down slowly. So the State Department of Sports have told the federation that they have run dry their coffers from the quota of the 15 billion allocated to sports for the financial year 2021-2022. So the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Heritage, through the State Department of Sports, have announced the Sports Federation across the country is not in a position to facilitate international events for the remaining days of the 2021-2022 financial year. So the next financial year starting 1st July, that's when the Kenya Morans team is supposed to be headed to Cairo, Egypt to participate. The the sports ministry knew this earlier, but they didn't mention it. They decided to mention this last minute. So that's one pointer that I saw that was pretty sketchy. This is after exhausting the allocations of the Sports Art and Social Development Fund in the said financial year that ends on 30th June, a kitty that they have been using to finance various sports federations. So, I mean, some sports are gonna suffer, like the handball, basketball, and rugby that they're supposed to compete in July. So the sports ministry is basically telling these guys, these athletes, you're in the federations, you're on your own, facilitate yourself, as if they're trying to seclude themselves from having a responsibility of financing. Oh, sorry, financing. Oh, that's me just blah, blah, blah. Financing these activities. They are supposed to finance these activities. So the State Department of Sports, which has been facilitating various sports federations through SASDF for the international events, is not in a position to do so. This is because the sports department has exhausted its funding allocations from SASDF in the financial year. So this is therefore to inform all federations expecting funding that it will not be possible for them to be funded due to budgetary constraints, which is very funny. At the moment, they are requested to seek sponsorship from other organizations. So that's what they said. That they said that, end quote. And considering the fact that the Kenya Rugby Union, they are sending their athletes to represent Kenya in an international event, handball. Also, they are sending a team to represent us outside, and also the one that I've been following closely is the FIBA World Cup for basketball. That they are supposed to be sending the men's team to Cairo so that they can participate. I mean, they're just in limbo, and as if they had anticipated their occurrence, the Kenya Rugby Union is already running a campaign, Dub Sport the Symbols, in an attempt to raise money to help cater for the Rugby World Cup qualifiers set for July in France. The national women's volleyball team, Malkia Strikers, are set to leave the country to Brazil on Sunday for a 2 month high performance training camp, but the budget was just to commit their 46 million budget submitted in April. So you can see there's a spanner in the works there. However, the team is now set to leave on Thursday, and leading gaming platform Mozart Bet sponsored the team for 1 year to a tune of 10 million last week. So you can see Mozart Sport had to have their hand in it. So then the one that we are way more interested in is the national men's basketball team. Kenya Morans has already participated in the World Cup qualifiers in the second window in February, and they're set to go from 1st to 3rd July in Egypt. But this development puts this whole them going outside to represent our country in limbo. So, I mean, the men's national handball team was set to travel to Egypt during the Africa Cup of Nations in July as well. So you could see sporting activities were really hitting the road in July. And it's funny that the sports ministry did not anticipate the calendar, they didn't even look at the calendar. They just said, they just waited for a technicality to happen so that they cannot commit any funds to these activities. So my question is, to all the athletes who are going to participate, why would you go participate and represent your country when your own Ministry of Sports doesn't want to support you? If I'm asked, the athletes should not even participate. You shouldn't. Why represent a country that doesn't even want to compensate you or even facilitate you to go participate? That's the main thing that I must say. Because if you have this level of misappropriation of funds, that the money that it gets exhausted. I'm not saying that they have not been using money appropriately, but they should have thought about and looked at the calendar and not be plain ignorant to the fact that these teams are going to participate. So my thing is, to the athletes, please do not go on your own, don't let yourselves use your own money to facilitate these events, because if you do, number one, you're not going to get compensated for your effort and hard work and resources that you're put in, and number two, with the case that you win, the sports ministry will come in swooping in to take all the credit, knowing very well that they let you high and dry when you needed them the most. They'll come in and swoop in and say they have been supporting you from the start, and don't let yourself get used. So my advice to all the federations and all the athletes, please do not let the sports ministry use you. You cannot survive without them. You cannot operate autonomous without them. The sports ministry is acting as if the federations have their own money. Okay, they can have their own allocations, but they need to be facilitated by the Ministry of Sports. You cannot let these people just come in and just use you, and when you go out and use your own resources and you win, they come and grab all and claim all the credit. You shouldn't allow that. And my thing is that just to mention this for all the athletes, no, never feel like it's mandatory for you to represent your country if the sports ministry isn't going to support you. That's all I have to say, man, because this thing has to stop. This whole situation where they're trying to put a technicality for them not to help you, they should find a way to get that money and facilitate you, because it's not only the athletes just going and participate, they're representing our country. Our country doesn't even want to facilitate, the state doesn't want to facilitate its own athletes to participate. This is just plain sad. So this is just a story that I saw, and it had my head shook for a moment, because I was like, why would you represent a country that doesn't even want to support you? So I mean, that's where sports is. Sports is always seen as an afterthought. I don't feel like this cabinet secretary has done anything significant to sports. She has never added anything. The only thing she knows how to do is just tweet when something happens and we win outside the country. That's the only time she knows what to say. And this time she only come out and say that the only reason why we can't facilitate is because our money has run dry. But the money has not run dry on your salary. Why don't you donate your salary to facilitate these people? Why don't the sports ministry take out a loan and facilitate these athletes? Why can't they do that? Why are they complaining that there is no money to facilitate here, but you're getting paid? Why don't you donate your own salary and get these people outside the country to participate? Use your own money then. Because you feel like the ministry cannot facilitate. Why don't you facilitate them? Why doesn't the sports ministry take out a loan from these banks and facilitate these athletes? Why can that be? Why is it that you have to put an excuse as to why Kenyans cannot go outside and represent their country just because you don't want to put some money into it? Okay, the financial year has ended, but isn't there a supplementary budget to cater for these emergencies? That's one thing that needs to be seen. Sports should not be considered as an afterthought. It should be considered as a way of marketing our own state and exposing our athletes to the international market. I mean, that's all I have to say, man. I'm out. Peace. See you in our next upload.